There's no doubt that college retention numbers are at an all-time low, but many are left wondering why and how can we improve this? According to Inside Higher Ed, college students who participate in athletics tended to fare better than non-athletes in their academic, personal, and professional life while during college and after graduation as a result of the bonds formed with their teammates. For this project, I got a chance to work with Central Penn College Athletics. A little bit about Central Penn College. Central Penn College is a small for-profit college located in central Pennsylvania, which offers degrees, diplomas, certifications in the medical, legal, business, and IT and communications fields. A little bit about me and my involvement with Central Penn College. Not only am I a student with Central Penn College in the corporate communications program, but I'm also an employee with Central Penn College as their student retention coordinator. A little bit about Central Penn College's athletics program. We have men's basketball, baseball, and soccer, as well as women's basketball, soccer, and volleyball. I got the chance to work with Central Penn College Athletics because of Casey Hicks. I put a post up on Facebook, and Casey and I are friends on Facebook, and I'm asking any small business owners if they would like my help during this project to work with them on social media content creation, and Casey reached out to me expressing a need within Central Penn Athletics. One of the main factors she wanted me to look at while I was working with her is posting and creating content for the Central Penn Knights Twitter page, as well as Central Penn College Knights Facebook page and their website. So a lot of the content that I created was posted on the Central Penn College Knights Facebook page and the Central Penn Knights Twitter page. I did create some graphics for the website, but most of them were posted on the social media platforms. One of the three main implementations that I was looking to do for this project to get experience within the social media creation field, the first was to develop an effective social media strategy to highlight current events happening within the athletics program. That was the first start process that we worked with, and to be able to create the content that you're looking for, or that Casey was looking for, we had to sit down and meet and talk a little bit about what she was looking for, what her results were, what she was looking to change. And so when we sat down, we talked about an effective social media strategy. And I'll discuss a little bit about what we did and what that strategy looked like in the next couple slides. The second thing, we were actually looking at developing the social media content to highlight the students and the needs of the department. So after we developed an effective social media strategy, I then created the content using my photography and graphics to be able to highlight on social media. And the third was to then implement those concepts like the photography and create graphics by using graphic design and using Canva for social media posts. So using those three types of elements, we're really trying to change or reactivate the Central Penn Athletics social media pages. According to HubSpot, which is a developer, marketer of software products and inbound marketing, sales, and customer service, when it comes to posting on Facebook and LinkedIn, remember that you may only have between 2 and 5 posts per week that will get distributed by the networks and news feeds. So when we sat down to meet with Casey, I really wanted to create a really effective social media plan. And to do that, we had to understand some of the key elements when working with social media. Based on some of my classes that I've had in the past in my communications degree, to develop an effective social media presence, you want to post 3 to 4 times a week. You don't want to post too few, but you don't want to post too much. We want to keep our visitors active and we want to keep them engaged, but we don't want to bog them down and we don't want to overpopulate their feed. We want to create strategic posting implementations. For example, we want to use hashtags. We want to use things that we can be able to track and trace so that we're understanding how the graphics are being shared within social media platforms. we want to create and publish more content highlighting the athletes. And that was one of the main aspects that Casey shared with me when we got the first chance to sit down, was she really wanted to highlight the athletes. She wanted to get more photography of them, more photos, and push that on the social media channels, because she felt that that would be shared and have more likes to be able to create more of a traction within the social media content. So for that, we wanted to highlight more of the students during their actual games, with the hopes that we would increase likes, follows, and shares on the different social media platforms. One of the key things that I brought with our meeting with Casey for our first meeting was this social media content calendar, and I actually grabbed this from HubSpot. And this is a really great avenue, and this is just the beginning aspect of this. We filled this out, but we color-coded things. So we color-coded that when we decided that we were going to do 3 posts a week, we color-coded and we knew which post was going to be. My goal was that after this project was done, that I could leave Casey with a social media plan so that she could implement herself if she needed to be, because she is one person, and using applications like HubSpot, she could be able to understand kind of how to post. And then using other applications like Hootsuite, she can kind of time her posts, and we can have them done in weeks in advance. So laying off some of the time that she might need to do for it. But this social media content calendar, so we talked about posting 3 times a week. One of those posts that we talked about was the athlete of the week. So the athlete of the week, which we ended up naming, changing that into the Knight Nation Spotlight, where we actually highlighted a student every week. We had a game recap and then a game preview. So we had 3 posts a week where we were looking at mixing them up depending on how the week was to be laid out. For example, some of our weeks may have had more content than others due to, for example, we had a press release of FNB field with our students playing on the field, so we had some extra photos and press releases for that week. But our main goal was to create graphics 3 times a week to increase shares. So in the second aspect, that was how we developed the social media strategy, how I developed the social media strategy with Casey as we sat down. The next important aspect was to develop the social media content. So one of the main things that I used to create most of my content within this program or within this project was Canva. I learned Canva through Desktop Publishing, which I took a couple terms back. And this program was amazing to create content. At one point, Casey would send me graphics and she would say, I would love it to look like this. How can you make it look like this? And then I would match those colors and graphics up to what we have to showcase. So for example, one of the main weekly posts that we wanted to highlight was the weekly Knight Nation Spotlight. So I created the graphic here on the right, the Knight Nation Spotlight, that we will be using weekly to highlight a Central Penn athlete that is involved in some interesting or rewarding activities while off the fields. So for example, we have the baseball team captain here, Ryan Stevens, that I created a graphic for. He actually owns his own business, making custom-made cleats and shoes, and made one for a Philadelphia Phillies baseball player. So I created a graphic, and we posted this both to the Central Penn College Knights Facebook page as well as the Twitter page. The other graphic that I created that is utilized through Canva is the standard graphic for all of our committed posts that will now come through the athletics program. So I created this on Canva as well, highlighting the students coming in who are committed to the athletics. This was a big implementation for Central Penn Athletics. We hadn't had anything in the past that announced any committed students that were coming into Central Penn College. So this was one implementation that Casey was really steadfast on, and that we were looking at implementing once a week for a standard post for all of our committed new athletes that were coming on. We look to grow this a little bit further as we grow in the future to create more content, to be able to have the access to be able to get in and photography or photograph some of those opportunities with these incoming students. The last post that we talked about that we were going to have running during that week was either a weekly recap of the games or a preview or things like that that we were going to fill in for the other posts of the week. So I created this graphic here on Canva. As you can see, it was a weekly or a game recap for our men's basketball that we posted both on Central Penn's Central Penn Knights Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, to highlight our students. For the third element into this project, it was implementing concepts like graphic design to create social media posts. So although I had desktop publishing, I was rather new to the concept of graphic design. And luckily, I had a great program like Canva to be able to help me implement my thoughts and ideas and my photography that I was taking in my photos into create custom-made graphics with relatively ease to be able to use for Central Penn College athletics. So I used Canva for most, if not all, of the graphics that I have been creating for the Central Penn Athletics. I also did upload and use a little bit of the application called GIMP. I'm still a little bit new to that, so I don't use it as much, but Canva was the major application that I used for my graphics. So I would upload graphics. I had approved graphics that I could use from Central Penn College. For example, the Knight and logo were all approved. So I had those that I was using, and I would combine my graphics with the top photos that I was taking at the games. So I would go to the basketball games were happening during this time. So I would attend all the basketball games, for example, this women's and men's senior night games, the whiteout games, and things like that. And I would photograph the athletes, and that's how I would get a lot of the content. I just recently attended the baseball painting lockers at the FNB field. And like I said, I got a chance to attend FNB Field press conference. So I got a lot of photographs from that I was able to implement into different graphics that Casey was looking for to highlight our students. Our main goal with increasing the posting rate within the Facebook pages and Twitter was to highlight our students with the goal and hopes that highlighting them would increase shares, likes, and comments and traction to the page. So that was the ultimate goal when I was creating the graphics, was really to highlight the students. They were the main graphic or the main photo, and then the main idea for those graphics. And I think that was the biggest complaint that I heard from student athletes, and something that I look to implement as I go further, if I get the chance to work with Central Penn College within the social media platforms, is that our student athletes want a location to access their photos. They want to be able to share their photos. Besides seeing what's on Facebook, what is posted, they want to have the access to see all of them, share them. And so that was their biggest complaint. So I created Flickr and just housed the last couple baseball games that I shot the pictures of. And just so that the students athletes, I sent them the link with approval from Casey and marketing, and they were able to kind of look at those photos as a trial to see how they would feel about it. Since I wasn't able to have full access to the social media sites for Central Penn College, the only tracking I was able to see was the actual Flickr. And I started the Flickr in February 2022 when we started the project, and I was amazed to see that I had 18.9 thousand views. That was awesome, in that small amount of time. And so that was just for a couple games that I covered. So although I wasn't able to see the metrics on Facebook and Twitter, I was able to see the direct relation to who was viewing the pictures that I was taking for each individual picture and then overall on Flickr. So that was nice to see that people were paying attention and seeing and saving those photos, and that they were going somewhere. And hopefully we can continue to have athletes use the photos and use hashtags like Knight Nation. So some things that you can do to help is like Central Penn College Knights on Facebook to find dates and support our athletes. We have a really big game starting at FNB Field. So we have an opening game at FNB Field, our first game at FNB Field. Sorry, we had our already baseball games, but this will be our first game at FNB Field. But to find great updates about what's happening with our athletes, like this Facebook page, and then also follow the Central Penn Knights Twitter page to find out updates as well. So a lot of great things. If you're a student, it'd be great to support these pages and know what's happening with our athletics program. And we want to gain follows and shares and likes. I put this, and I'll end this because this project didn't feel like work for me. I probably went well above the hours, but it's never too late to be what you might have been. And it was really a joy to jump into this